You can just use your laptop as a desk, honestly. Put some like mugs of coffee on top of it.
I could, yeah. I think I'm going to start doing that, actually. It's like a big, what are the things you put your cup on?
Coaster.
Got one right here.
Nice.
This is a coaster household. Big on coasters.
Respect. Cosign.
Coaster sign.
Oh, whoa. Sorry, that just blew my mind. We have to stop.
We got to take a break.
I'm going to be sick.
Hi friends, and welcome to Screen Vomit, the only movie podcast for normal people. I'm of course your host Kayla, and I do have a guest with me today, but before I get to that, I got a couple things to say. First of all, I did have a live screening a couple weeks ago in Altadena, California, outside of LA, and I just wanted to shout out everyone who came. It was really cool to meet everyone, and I was really happy to share those shorts with y'all. So just really happy that y'all came. For Screen Vomit, if you like the show, you can of course find me on Instagram and everywhere else at Screen Vomit. One word on all the stuff. I have new t-shirts that are so sick, designed by Chapel of Ghouls on Instagram, a ghoul tee for Screen Vomit. And if you're listening to this literally the day that it comes out on Monday, 11/27, they are on sale for the Black Friday crap. 15% off for today. Beyond that, they'll be normal. But thank you if you get one, and thanks for supporting the pod. I love y'all. I have some cool stickers on there too, and the links to that are of course in my link tree, which is in the show notes and on all my crap. Folks, today we have such a cool episode, and actually it's kind of wild. We recorded this at this point over a year ago, which is kind of insane, but I've put out so few episodes this year just because of being busy and stuff, and it had to be bumped a couple times because other guests that I had on had specific stuff they were promoting with dates attached. So it has taken so long to get this out, and I've been literally dying to get this out because I'm so excited for this guest. First of all, I guess I'll just spill the damn beans. It's Harrison Atkins, filmmaker, actor. You may know. People don't tell you about Harrison that he's so fucking funny. I'm literally crying, laughing, not only in the episode you're going to hear, but also editing it. I've just been damn AOing, so I'm really excited to finally get this out. Okay, so you may know Harrison. He's a filmmaker in his own right. He's written, directed a feature called Lace Crater, several shorts, I Love to Wait, Chocolate Heart. Those are some of my favorites. He's worked on a bunch of crap you probably have heard of, a bunch of Joe Swanberg stuff, such as the show Easy, Drinking Buddies. He's worked as an editor on other features, such as the recent Aubrey Plaza hit Emily the Criminal, The Year Between, Listen Up Philip, all kinds of stuff. So he's just very incredibly talented, amazing filmmaker. I've been a fan for a long time. Unfortunately, we really don't talk about any of his gorgeous, amazing films that he has taken part in. What we do talk about a lot is a short that he worked on in college called Fishfucker, which is the most random deep cut ever. But at the time that we had met up, I had just watched it recently. So I'm linking Fishfucker in the show notes so that everyone can watch it and know what the fuck we're talking about. But even if you don't, it might actually even be funnier if you don't know what we're talking about. So check that out. Harrison has a bunch of stuff coming up, in the works. So keep your eyes peeled, because King is literally popping off. He's got two shorts doing, at least two, I guess, two that I know about, doing festival circuits right now. Magic Socket and Earth Seen from Above. So keep your eyes out for those. He may or may not be rumored to be working on a new feature. So, King's got stuff bubbling. I'm really excited for y'all to hear this episode. And thanks for listening. And here it is, Harrison Atkins. Here he is. I used to be a Chicago guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, I once lived in a cooler place.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I've been trying to work to understand the kind of because I feel like you seem to consume a lot of films that are by friends of mine.
Yeah.
I'm like, how do they know about all these films?
I'm sort of just weirdly connected to DIY,
Yeah,
both in music and in
crazy.
film. And I have been for a long time. And I don't know. I just kind of navigate that easily somehow. I don't really understand it. I can't explain it.
Right. I definitely can't explain
it.
True. Yeah, that's cool. That's actually, you're just sort of intuitively
DIY,
like surfing on the scene of DIY.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much.
Because I saw you posted like Fishfucker.
Yeah,
you're like, today I'm watching Fishfucker, and I was like, whoa.
And
wow.
I didn't even know that you worked on that until I saw the credits.
Yeah, I mean, I worked on that in college. I was the DP. And Daniel's character, who is like the doctor who I don't know what the verb is for
delivered.
He delivers. Yeah, he delivers Fishfucker into the world. Is Dr. Harrison Atkins?
Yeah,
this is his character's name.
I actually watched it because I thought that somebody else I know was in it, and it turns out they weren't in it at all. So I don't even know.
Who did you think was in it?
David Brown, who you probably also know.
Oh, yeah, I love David Brown. Yeah, it's like
but he's in other films from what's his head?
Yeah, that Brandon, because Brandon made, it's like all those people are just like some of my just best friends and people that I went to college with and just dearest homies. So yeah, David was in. Brandon made this like student film called, I think it was called High All Day.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
No, but it's on my list.
Yeah, you'll probably dig that one. It's cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you have to say about Fishfucker?
I love Fishfucker. That was like a really fun project. That was just like the homies kind of making something. I think it was made for, we went to Northwestern and there was like I want to say it was like an exploitation cinema.
Hell yeah.
Sort of like production class or whatever that they made that for. So it was birthed from the brain of Daniel Johnson and Brandon Daly, both of whom are just like insanely amazing filmmakers.
Yeah.
But I remember feeling like that film turned out really sick and kind of like it had like a flow that I think is maybe like a little rare amongst like film school projects or something.
For sure, yeah.
Especially the beginning of that movie feels like really in the pocket to me.
Yeah.
Where it's like she's like poking holes in the condoms or whatever and looking at posters of babies while Brandon is like in the bathroom taking Viagra or whatever.
Yeah, and then there's like a gorgeous necrophilia scene.
Yeah. I remember trying to like figure out how to shoot like because Brandon falls and hits his head. Mm-hmm. And that's like and weirdly like a scene where someone falls and hits their head is like it's in like a lot of movies that, and especially maybe in like film school, it's like people are often falling and hitting their head and passing out. And it's
or
like,
dying
you gotta kind of find the right, you gotta find the right way to do it. And I remember I remember being in the bathroom with them and being like, how are we going to shoot this thing? It turned out okay. We like, and I want to say it's like reversed.
You just pushed him real hard and it worked out.
We just kind of, we were like, I guess we should just really do it.
Yeah.
And Brandon committed to doing it and then we
Seems
killed
like the easiest
him.
way.
And he's dead. He died there. And he's still laying in the bathroom now.
R.I.P. We're doing a little prayer for him.
He's dead. Yeah. And rest in peace, Brandon. No one ever touched his corpse. His corpse is still there.
Well, besides the person who fucked it.
Right. There was the sexual aspect, but
no one ever touched his corpse non-sexually.
Right. It was an exclusively sexual relationship.
Yeah.
It wasn't. There's no ecclesiastical component. Nothing. There was no ceremony to it. Really, it was just a vulgar act of sexual depravity.
Vulgar, horny, gorgeous.
And then the corpse was left. Yeah. People are still. People still fuck that corpse occasionally to this day. It's still there.
What else
it's
is
in
it
Chicago.
For,
Nothing. You're right.
So wait, did you say how you hit the head, or did I completely
No,
derail?
you did. I don't know. I actually don't know that I fully remember. It's like because I think if I recall, and I was in that movie.
You just remember thinking about how am I going to hit the head, but you don't remember how you did it.
It's like in my memory, it's like a close up that like it's like on his face and it's just like tracking with him as he like falls and like hits his head on the radiator, and it's like I want to say we just like reversed it, but at the time we're all like I don't know, we're like
genius.
20. And I mean, it's not, but at the time, but it was definitely a discovery within our little, it was our
movies are so magical to me. I would never conceptualize any of the, I can't comprehend it.
There's the gag in Fishfucker where it's like, another actor named Scott is like getting a blowjob and her head is in the foreground, like going up and down.
Yeah.
And then in the background, there's like that silhouette that appears. I remember feeling like that was a good gag.
I was.
Cool
it was spooky.
Is this part of the podcast? Like, is this going to be part of a
I think it kind of, I wasn't intending to just be in the podcast, but I think it kind of has to be in the podcast, right?
Well, it's nice that because it's just going to be it's like an esoteric, like film school short film that we're just going to spend like a lot of time just talking
You have like
about.
so many like gorgeous, like really well produced, like beautiful films that you created.
No, we should do it.
And
it would be cool to do just a whole Fishfucker pod. Yeah. That would actually be awesome. I would love that. Because Fishfucker has a lot of lore. There's lore.
When was the last time that you watched it? Has it
probably
been
like maybe 5 years, something like that. I feel like at some point in the last 5 years, I probably threw it on.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly not even sure. It might be longer.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember I saw it a lot at the time, but so it's like I remember it a lot. But
did you edit it too or
checked
no?
in with it. No, I didn't. That was all Daniel and Brandon.
I see.
Who are both like just the best. They're both so fucking good. It's crazy
Yeah.
how good those guys are.
Aww.
Yeah. They're
Hell
great.
yeah.
They're good.
I'm sure. They're good.
I'm serious.
I'm also serious.
I'm serious. They're good.
The more you say you're serious, the less serious you're sounding.
No. They're good. No,
Now they're concerned. They're listening to the pod. They're thinking you're sarcastic. They're questioning your friendship.
Does she not think that we're good? No, you guys are really good.
Shout out to them.
Fellas, I know you're listening to this. You're good.
Hell yeah. Fishfucker crew for life, sounds like.
Long live.
Hell yeah.
Fishfucker. Rest in peace.
So you're a LA guy now, true?
Yeah, it's true. I live in LA now. I've been I've been here for a while. My life was really dynamically shifting location a lot.
Yeah.
But now I feel like I've been here in a pretty continuous way for a few years, especially with the whole pandemic thing was like that.
Helped you chill out.
Really, yeah, I mean, it sort of forced me to chill out, and now
forced a lot of people to chill out, myself included.
Been in my yeah. Because have you been in Indianapolis for a while, or was
I just moved back last year, so
okay, from Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, sick.
So I was in Chicago for 6 years, and then I moved back here.
Oh, okay, cool.
Did we have crossover? When did you leave Chicago?
Well, for sure we had crossover because I went to Northwestern, and then for a while I was there because I was working on the show Easy, but that Joe Swanberg Netflix show. Yeah, so
I never watched it.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you'd like it.
I'm Chicago canceled for not watching the show, actually, I think.
Oh yeah. You're in big trouble, actually.
I have a really stupid reason. I tried to watch one episode. Not that it was bad.
Wait.
There was
what's the reason?
There was a lot of sex in it.
It is. It is a really for sure. It's a really sex show.
And I said, this is too much for me.
You probably don't like any of the Joe Swanberg movies then, because all this shit is very sexual and
very sexual and
interpersonal, sexual politic or whatever.
Yeah. I almost want to say exploitative, but it's not exactly, but almost.
It's definitely the terrain of the show is all about and I even think some of his earlier stuff is even more kind of bodies kind of as part of the terrain of it or whatever. And but so it's I worked in that show, and so it's and before that I was living in New York, so it's I spent at least 3 years where I would go from New York to Chicago, and I'd be in Chicago for 6 months, and then I would go to LA to help finish the season of the show or whatever in LA, and then bop around here for a while, and then go back to New York, then go back to Chicago.
So just the 3 major cities, nowhere else.
Yeah, I was
Where are you from initially?
I was born in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and then I grew up in mostly in Texas, in central and Texas and kind of South Texas.
Wait, was Chicago your first major city?
Yeah. I technically I grew up in the suburbs of Dallas, sort of. So it's that.
I'm just curious. Out of the big 3, why Chicago?
Well, Chicago was where I went to college.
So it was just for the college?
It was I went to Northwestern there, and then I had pretty soon after college I moved to New York. But it's my first job, right after graduating from Northwestern was on that movie Drinking Buddies that Joe Swanberg made in Chicago. So it was and honestly, it was mostly just collaborations with Joe, where it's I was making movies in New York for a while, and then it's I just kind of, was offered these jobs that were in Chicago, and and honestly I love Chicago. I really love it. It's especially because
I still go back constantly, even though I don't live there anymore. I'll be there tomorrow.
I was just talking to a buddy who was just there. Honestly, I really miss it. I really miss it.
Yeah.
I have so many friends there that I really miss and love. And I feel like it's it's kind of the best one of the three.
Yeah.
It's just like a little bit like cold as fuck.
Yeah, true.
That's the only thing about it, which maybe you're no stranger to, being an Indianapolis space person. It's probably cold as fuck there too, but
it's about the same as Chicago. Most of the time, they're about the same.
I get pretty seasonally affected.
Yeah, same.
So I would just like be just depressed basically all the cold dark winter, and then I would just be like, I'm not. And then each year I'd just be like, never again, and then it would happen again. I'd be like, never again. But so it's like at some point. Whenever I was living in Chicago as an adult, I mean, it's like Northwestern is in Evanston, so it's like it's not really proper, it's not the urbanity. I just love the city so much. I love Chicago, and I love Chicago's just great because it's still, it's like if you're a DIY person, then you definitely understand why Chicago's great.
Hell yeah.
Because it's like New York's just it's too fucking expensive in New York to like really, unless you're like way out in the boondocks or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just expensive to like really create a DIY space or something. Mm-hmm. And then LA is kind of a little bit, it's like, I think you can find DIY vibes in LA, but it's like the general pallor of like the West Coast is kind of a little more like commodified or something in my experience. It's a little more like, there's a little bit more of a almost like a capitalist kind of angle where things are like inherently like interpreted into some kind of like consumer thing or something.
I think there might be more DIY filmmaking in LA though. Do you think?
Well, it's like, I actually think while there is DIY filmmaking in LA, it's like you're going against the current if you're making DIY stuff in LA. Mm-hmm. It's like if you're trying to make stuff low budget in LA, people like pat you on the head like a little puppy and they're like, "Aw, that's so cute." But if you're trying to make like something like low or no budge in Chicago or New York, then there's a little bit more of like a cultural context for it where people are like, "Oh yeah, let me help out" or whatever. It's like in LA, I feel like people make things for cheap while they're like trying to get like a gatekeeper permission to make something for more expensive or whatever.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely like a hypno here that veers work that, more in the direction of being, commodified or something. Mm-hmm. But I actually think LA can be like insanely radical if you're interested in like a poetic cinema or something, or if you're like trying to think about like a cinema that's not for sale in LA. It can be really radical. Yeah. Here specifically because you're going so against the grain, and because there's other reasons to kind of love the like making movies here, because it's just like really sort of naturally beautiful and the light is really great all the time. There's lots of amazing actors here, and so it's like
you can always be outside. You can always find a crew.
You can always, there's cameras just lying around in the street. Just pick one up and start shooting. Just abandoned crews.
Basically, what I hear sometimes.
Yeah. It's like, have you been here before?
Yeah, I have. I was just there for 10 days in February. So.
Oh wow!
And I'll be back again as soon as I can.
Yeah. It's a good time to visit LA. It's when it's like winter.
It was randomly like really cold the week that I was there.
Really?
Yeah, it was like so rude because the week before I came, it was in the 80s. It was great. And then literally the day I got there, it was like 40.
Yeah, that's so rude.
And I didn't bring a jacket or anything because I'm like, I'm going to LA. It's been 80s. It'll be great. Yeah. I just was freezing for a lot of the time.
That's so insulting. I know. That's so insulting.
I know. It was a personal affront to me.
Yeah, that sucks. Did you go to Disneyland?
Really no. I am poor. I'm not doing that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, you gotta blow all your money at Disneyland.
I had a pretty chill trip. I mean, I just kind of know a lot of people out there.
Yeah.
And then I had also never been, so I did all the stupid stuff that you got to do, the Walk of Fame and the observatory and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you jump off the Hollywood sign.
Yeah, I sat in the O of the Hollywood sign first with my managers and then jumped off it, rolled down the hill.
It's nice. It's fun to do that.
Hit a few cactuses. I had never seen a cactus growing out of the ground. So that was pretty cool. And
that's a nice way to get introduced to what a cactus is all about.
Yeah, stick it directly in my ass. So I spent a lot of time like doing that kind of crap and just like bopping around with people that I know or like knew from online and had never met in real life, or also seeing movies and comedy, etc.
Yeah, cool. Cool.
I like to do that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, that shit. Yeah, I like to do that shit too. That's cool. Like watch movie.
watch movie, stick cactus in my ass, and go see comedy. Mm-hmm.
That's the sacred triad. Those are the three things that I try to do every day.
Ever since you moved to LA, that's your lifestyle.
Things are a lot better now because there's cactuses. It's so much easier to get access to a cactus here.
Yeah,
for the ass element.
Hard in Chicago.
It's really tough in Chicago.
At best, you have like the little ones on people's desks or like in their windowsills and shit.
And after a while, they start, they hide them when I'm coming.
And they certainly smush a lot easier than like the big ones that are growing in LA.
It's true. And when a cactus gets smushed, you gotta throw it away. It's yucky. It gets gross.
Yeah, it's yucky after that. So anyway, Chicago's the best of the three cities. You heard it here first.
It's Chicago is fucking sick. The other thing about Chicago is that it's kind of the most like a sandbox or something. It's like shit is the most experimental in Chicago, I feel like. Because New York is so expensive that there's like there's all this like financial pressure. So it's cool because it forces you to be, it forces you to work really hard in New York. And I think New York is maybe the most ecstatic city.
Yeah.
Artistically, but I think Chicago, it's sort of like laid back enough that there's still like DIY spirit. There's still like weird scenes and like places and like, zones. And it's like your mind can like take up more space or something. Your imagination can get more like weird and wonked out.
Sure.
So it's like whenever I'm in Chicago for a while, I find myself like making more experimental shit.
Hell yeah.
Or something, or like less like narrative shit or whatever.
That's tight. Have you been to Joe's Theater in Chicago?
Which one?
At Analog?
Like the VHS thing or whatever, like the no, I haven't. He like started doing that stuff, the Analog thing, kind of after I wasn't in Chicago anymore. He just put out like
you put out your tapes.
Yeah, he put out my tape under his like banner or whatever, his label.
They're in there for sale.
Yeah, that's sick. That's actually, I really want to go there and see him.
His theater rocks. I'll probably have to cut this out of the pod because they're so underground. I don't think he would like for me to talk about it.
Have you been to his speakeasy? That was like a VOD. It's like, and especially when we were working on Easy, that was just like ostensibly like the crew party zone.
Oh hell yeah!
We would be partying there till like 10 a.m.
Sick. That rocks.
Crazy,
yeah, it's a great
nice
like theater space now. They have shows there on Fridays and Saturdays.
Wow.
Do you know Brooke Bundy?
Yeah, I do. Bruce.
Yeah. She made a pilot and premiered her pilot there.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Bruce was in Lace Grader, but she got cut out.
Oh yeah. That's so funny.
Bruce.
Because actually when I went to that pilot premiere, she was talking about that, and she was like, "I think I
really?
was in that movie as like a clerk or like a
her
liquor store
scene
clerk or something."
Her scene was so good,
but it's not like in the movie though, right?
No, we cut it. We had to cut it out
because I thought that was so funny because there was another girl in our conversation, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I remember you," and I was like, I don't think I remember you in it, but I think I would remember because like I know who she is and everything.
There's a deleted scene where so do you know who Chase Williamson is? He's like one of the actors in Lace Grader.
Maybe if I saw him, I might look him up.
He's like one of the whatever the friend group. There's like a deleted subplot in Lace Grader where he has like a sexual fetish where his character gets like turned on by basically like convincing a stranger that they may have met before.
Okay.
So it's like so there's a scene in the beginning of the movie where his character is introduced where like Bruce she is working at a liquor store and he's like he's like buying wine or something and he's like, wait a minute, have we met? And she's like, I don't know, have we? And then it's just like Chase just gets like really, really turned on. And that's the scene. And that was kind of one of the first scenes in the movie. Yeah, that was his kink. But then we kind of it got cut.
Yeah,
because I don't remember why, but it wasn't because it wasn't great.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta cut shit.
Sometimes you gotta cut shit.
That's really funny though, because I was just thinking about that. I just rewatched the movie the other day. Not to say that to
really?
you guys,
That's cool.
but yeah, and so I was thinking about that conversation that I had, and the other girl who was like, yeah, I remember you, and I was like, she's not in this movie at all.
Who's the other girl?
I don't know
Maybe
her.
Maybe she's someone that saw an early cut of it or something before Bruce's
You know what?
thing got
I think
cut
she
out.
might. It might have been the girl who works at the theater, so she probably is like either friends with or she might have some relationship with Joe that I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know him like that. So.
Yeah, could be.
But yeah, anyway, I don't know. I went there for that, and I've been there for movies.
That's cool.
Yeah,
I haven't been there in a while. But that space was really fun, and I've been like really curious to check out
It's awesome. You should go.
The Redacted.
When are you going back? Do you go back regular?
I don't know.
Or you just go back for
I don't
jobs?
go back regular. I just go back for, I mean, I would love to go back and visit, but it's been a minute.
You only go back if somebody pays you to.
That sort of seems to be the way that my life is laid out, where there's like pay me to go from place to place. But I mean, I don't know. It's like I really intended to go. It's like
You claim to love it, and yet
but it's a sham. Actually, I can't stand it. I'm so thankful to be haunting my little apartment in LA every day, just missing all those people. No, I don't know. I don't know. I just haven't really been. I used to just be so much more. I used to just kind of live a lifestyle that was more about just like driving around America in my car, and
hell yeah.
And it's just kind of I've been a little bit sequestered here.
Yeah, it's hard to drive around America in LA. Like if you live in the Midwest, you can get anywhere in a couple hours. You know,
it's true.
Out there,
I mean, I've done a lot.
Where the hell are you going to go? The desert?
I mean, you go to, I don't know, Joshua Tree or something. Have you been there?
No.
It's cool. Joshua Tree's cool.
I've heard it's cool. I've been told I should go.
You should. You would like it. It's cool. It's vibey.
I've really not been like anywhere out west. I flew to LA and I drove to Malibu, and that's it. I've never been to any other city. I've been to like the eastern suburbs of LA, but like
you've never been to like Portland.
No. And my brother lives in Portland, and I've never been.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Portland is cool. Yeah, I used to just be all about, because all those, you know, whatever the dynamic like lifestyle that I was describing, where I would like be moving all the time. It's like I just had my car. It's like I had a bunch of shit in my car. I had a storage unit in Chicago. I had like some other stuff in my old apartment in Brooklyn, and then until I kind of got my life together or whatever, it's like I was just bouncing from like furnished sublet to furnished sublet with like my like trunk full of just whatever, like an electric guitar or whatever, and which just
I had
boxes.
A similarly nomadic lifestyle for a bit, not exactly to that degree, but I used to tour a lot with bands or just like, because I live in Indianapolis, or I did for the longest time, and I do again.
And you are there now.
And I am currently, but I wasn't for a while, but I was. It's like the easiest place to get to other places, which is probably one of its like best characteristics. Like, because you can get to so many major cities within like a couple hours drive. It's so easy, and there's never any traffic. So I used to not only tour a lot with bands, but also just like drive out of state and just go do shit, like whatever, visit places or go to shows or whatever, you know. But I was gone like all the time. I was going out of state like multiple times per week.
I think that's kind of a cool way to live. It's got like a nice cosmic feel. I think it can be a little bit, I think that if it's like a long duration of time doing that, it can be a little hard on the you feel like pretty unrooted, or at least I did. I had to kind of like, you know, get rooted a little bit, or I started to like crave that sensation. I just, you know, it would be like time to do taxes or whatever, and I would just be like, what the fuck what do I do? Or like people would be like, what's your address? And I'd be like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. For like mail was just going to like an apartment where I used to live.
Yeah.
And my like old roommates were just like helping me out and like gathering my mail for me.
Yeah, or like my roommates in Indianapolis were like taking care of my cats basically 100% of the time because I was just always gone. It's kind of like the same thing, even though like I always had a home, I always had like a place, but I was just never in it.
Right, totally. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you.
That's part of why I moved to Chicago too, is because I was just always going there.
Yeah,
I could save so much gas if I stopped driving to Chicago and just lived there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so have you met other, like, I wonder if you've met other friends of mine, like IRL. Like, have you met Brandon Daly, director of Fishfucker?
I haven't.
Yeah, because he's in Chicago.
Let's see. I'm going to see who our mutuals are on Instagram.
We got probably a lot, it feels like.
Probably so. We have 56 mutuals.
Yeah, so there's a shitload.
Future Kayla popping in here. I did cut out a big part of this section. It's just me and Harrison naming off people that we mutually follow on Instagram. Not interesting. But he had a cute story about filmmaker Jersey Rose. So I left that. I didn't cut it out entirely, and I left that little chunk in. So that's what's coming up next. Didn't want to leave y'all without context. Okay, bye. Jersey's been on the pod.
Jersey is such a good filmmaker.
Yeah.
And recently I met Jersey for the first time.
Oh,
in
really?
real life.
I never met him in real life, but he did my pod. So, like, we've talked for a long time.
I fucking love neighborhood food drive a lot, and
Yeah.
I recently my upstairs neighbor Alex Kavitsky.
Alex is also a good friend of mine. I didn't know you guys were neighbors.
Alex is my neighbor. He lives in an apartment like above mine, and
yeah.
and for a long time I didn't really know him, but recently I've been hanging out with him some. And,
oh really?
And he was like finishing because he and Jersey were working together on his new movie. Which is called I think it's called Vertical Valor or something.
Yeah.
That movie. So I went up to his apartment to like kind of just give, whatever, like have a watch and give thoughts and feedback because they were trying to picture lock it.
Yeah.
And I met Jersey and I didn't realize that it was the Jersey. I didn't realize it was the Jersey.
You thought it was a different Jersey?
Yeah, it was like, it's a guy named Jersey. I didn't expect it. I don't know because I didn't know Jersey. And then later I was like, oh, that was Jersey.
You got like starstruck.
I'm a big Jersey fan. Yeah, I really did. Yeah. And then a couple nights ago, I got to talk to Jersey for a while and tell him that I was a fan of his show. Yeah.
Jersey got kind of sprung on me because I asked Alex to do the pod, and he was like, "My friend Jersey's gonna do it with me."
Oh.
And I was like,
"Oh, that's cool."
Okay, because Alex got really shy when he did the pod. But he's going to do it again one day, and it's just going to be him.
That's a get. That's kind of a get to do. Like you get a double decker like Kavitsky Jersey.
Yeah. Anyway, that's
any of this stuff's going to make it in.
We'll see how it comes together.
All right.
Either way,
like
we're having
list
fun.
Of names.
Yeah.
It's like the target demographic for this part of the podcast is just like the people who we're talking about. Like that's it. Like there's like maybe like 25 people who like me.
Yeah, that's kind of my target demo is 25 people. So I think it'll work out, actually. Cool. Mm-hmm. It's kind of we're already starting off. My podcast is named ScreenVomit. Like you're already cutting some people out of the door.
Yeah, it's true. People that,
all I do is watch creepy little films that no one's ever heard of. Like,
Yeah.
I try not to get people to listen to this thing if I can help it. So
okay, cool.
I think we're doing
there's
great.
There's like a lot of caution tape.
Yeah.
There's a lot of warning signs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, we probably should get into the movie though. What do you think?
Which movie? There's a movie.
There is a movie involved with our conversation at some point.
I'm just joshing. I watched it. I rewatched it.
You did?
I did, like in the last couple of days. I hadn't seen it since it came out. I hadn't seen it since I saw it
You hadn't seen it since you saw it?
Since a theatrical screening.
You saw it in theaters?
I saw it in one
theater? Just one time in one theater?
I saw it in the Cinerama Dome in the ArcLight Theater.
I went there when I was in LA, but it was no longer a thing.
Now it's defunct.
But I did look at it from the outside. And I go, well, there it is.
It's so beautiful.
It is. It's cool.
It's beautiful.
I went to a movie like a couple doors down from there, though, at some random place.
See?
I saw this movie, Moon Manor, I think is what it's called. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, what were we talking about? The Beach Bum.
Beach Bum.
Cinerama Dome, Beach Bum.
It is a movie. Yeah, I saw it. I was a bit inebriated when I saw it. I loved it.
Were you drinking inebriated or smoking inebriated?
I can't remember what I
You can't remember.
I want to say that I want to say I'd eaten like an edible or something like that. But I remember like the screening was full of smoke. It felt like it just seemed like everyone was like getting stoned, and that was so fun to me. I loved that atmosphere.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I mean, I definitely in that screening was like I loved it. I was really, really into it when I saw it.
Yeah.
Had you seen it before?
Yes, I saw it one time in my home last year.
Okay.
So not as exciting.
No, way more banal.
Yeah, on a tiny little television too.
That was
a friend convinced me to watch it. Do you know Andre Highland?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
pal of the pod, Andre Highland convinced me to watch this movie.
Shout out to Andre.
He said you got to watch it. It's so funny. It's so good. And then I did. So that was my experience initially, and then I rewatched it, of course. Yeah.
And I just rewatched it too. I watched it on my on the very laptop I'm using. I'm
really?
using to participate in this very Zoom.
You're a laptop movie watching guy now.
Not usually, but sometimes just makes sense.
I see.
You know what I mean? No, I'm saying it's not everyone's on a laptop. It's like when you want to watch a movie in
if
your
the
lap,
vibes are right, yeah.
Yeah.
I have a new huge TV. You might see it behind me here.
Oh my god.
That I've been watching shit on. I'm so stoked on this TV.
Yeah, it looks
I historically had a tiny TV, like a 30-inch, like little bitty TV that like had a speaker blown. And people would come to my house. It's embarrassing. I'm known as a movie guy, and they go, Kayla, what are you watching this on?
That sounds like a huge bummer. So how big is the new TV?
55 inches.
Oh my god.
It's hard to tell because it's at an angle and stuff here.
It's a monster.
It's really big.
On my screen, it looks like only a couple inches.
It probably looks like a single inch on your screen.
It's it's the size of a postage stamp.
About the size of my head.
Yeah, it's about the size of a human head. It's the size and shape of a head.
Yeah. That's what my TV is. It's just the right size that if I put my eyes directly on it, that my whole entire vision's taken up. So that's really all you need.
Yeah, it's a completely immersive experience for only you. It's designed for your face.
Thank God I don't have any friends.
Yeah, it's like a mask that you can wear.
Yeah. Rocks. But anyway, so I watched it on my new huge TV. So now I got a little more of a theatrical sort of experience this time.
Did it hit different than before?
I think you got to have a big screen for this.
I think you're maybe right.
Yeah.
I think you're maybe right. I think that I felt like I will say that I think I still love the movie, but I think that I have more like nuance in my like opinion
in your
about
memory
the movie now
than
maybe I did. My newest watch of it gave me a more nuanced view or something than the ecstatic opinion that I had.
You have new criticisms. Well, also the first time your brain was in a different zone.
At least my brain was in an entirely different zone. This time my brain was like focused, rigorous brain. It was a
peak brain.
My brain was in top form. And but I'd say that I have a little bit of I had a couple little rankles with it this time.
A couple rankles. Two tree rankles.
I'm kind of curious about. I kind of have I have hypotheses about like why things are the way they are that maybe like rub me the wrong way.
Okay, interesting. Well, let me go through the cast and crew real quick, and then we'll get into this damn thing. All right, so this is obviously a Harmony Korine movie. There's contention over pronunciation of Harmony Korine's last name.
Really?
But I'm going with Korine, yeah.
What are the other candidate pronunciations?
Korine.
Okay.
Korine.
Okay, all right. And I'm neutral on that. I feel agnostic about that.
What would you
controversy.
say?
I'd say Korine. That would be my impulse.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Anyway, Harmony Korine movie. If anybody doesn't know who that is, I think he's most famously known for Spring Breakers, Gummo, etc. We got Matthew McConaughey. We got Isla Fisher, Snoop Dogg, Martin Lawrence, Jonah Hill, Zac Efron, Jimmy Buffett. All kinds of people in this, locked and loaded. All right, critic scores on this are kind of bad. 57 on Rotten Tomatoes and 56% of Google users.
To me, 50% that's kind of the sweet spot. It's like if you're getting around, if honestly, it's like if you're getting around 50, then you're like doing enough stuff that's like interesting and like weird that it's like kind of splitting the audience, you know?
Yeah.
Because some people like, a lot of people just really like a down the middle, like generic movie that just kind of is a traditional code that they like, recognize. So it's like
you're breaking the form.
Yeah. If you're doing anything kind of like genuinely interesting, then it's likely that you're going to end up around 50-ish. I've noticed.
Yeah, that's probably true. Mm-hmm. So it was also a huge box office bomb, though.
Yeah.
It grossed $4.6 million worldwide on a $5 million budget. So
that's not great, I guess.
Not great. You contributed to that 4.6 milli, though.
I contributed actually a larger proportion than you would expect. Yeah. I chipped in a mil.
Yeah, a mil. A mil just from you to support the arts.
I saw the movie a bunch of times.
Yeah?
I saw it several thousand times when it came out.
How many times would you have to see the movie to get to $1 million? I
guess it depends on how much a ticket costs.
True.
When you go
and in LA,
say,
I mean, the price has got to be outrageous.
I mean, my God, in this economy. Come on.
What is it? 20, 25 bucks?
I saw it 2 times. And it cost $500,000 each time.
Hell yeah. For the primo smoke experience in the dome.
Yeah. And those were dome seats, so
yeah, so it's different. Yeah.
That shit gets a little bit pricey.
Yeah.
When you're in the dome. People chipping in 6-7 figures for a seat in the dome.
Well, I never got to go, but I hope that they bring it back to life.
Hey, for the right price, you can still get in there.
Oh, yeah. If you know a guy who knows a guy and you have $1 million.
Let me know if you're interested. This is off the record, of course.
I didn't get to see this in theaters, although I was aware of it being in theaters when it was. But I thought it seemed like a stoner movie. And you know what? Yeah. I'll admit, and this is vulnerable of me to admit, I didn't know who Harmony Korine was when this movie came out.
Wow, so have you seen Gummo?
I have now. I've seen all his movies.
Okay.
Well, not all his shorts,
cool.
But I've seen all his features.
Yeah, okay.
I've seen some of his shorts.
Yeah, okay.
But at the time...
That's surprising.
You know what? I think I watched Gummo, like, in the 2000s at some point. But I didn't, like, associate it. I had also seen Kids before. But I didn't know, So yeah, I didn't have that, like, director hype for it that probably a lot of people had, is all.
I had the hype. I'm a big Gummo fan. I love Gummo. Love Gummo.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm definitely a Harmony fan. I really like his films. I like his sensibility.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot. I really think he's a cool artist who's like just genuinely interesting and
hell yeah,
making fun choices.
I totally agree. So, yeah, tell me about your relationship with his films. When did you find them?
I think I saw Gummo for the first time in high school, and that was maybe my first exposure to his work was seeing that movie. I don't really remember the context or how I watched it, and I think the first time that I watched it, I didn't like it. I think it was just because
you hadn't been cinema pilled yet.
Yeah, I was being scandalized. Yeah. And I didn't really know what I was looking at.
Yeah.
And then I remember seeing it again like years later, and then it like hit completely different, and I was like, "Oh, this is so good!" and then I remember watching it like another couple times in college or something, and that's just a film that's really kind of stuck with me over the years. And it's like, there's a lot of cool stuff going on with that movie, but I really love it, and it makes me kind of think of this like William Eggleston movie called Stranded in Canton. Are you familiar with that at all? Have you heard of that? So, Eggleston's like a photographer. So he's not really like a generally like a filmmaker, but he made this movie, in, I want to say the 80s called Stranded in Canton, which is like, it's sort of like home video footage, sort of. It's like he is kind of just like going around with like a handheld camcorder and like, filming people that he's hanging out with. But because people at the time that the movie was being like produced or whatever, like didn't really have a frame of reference for like what a handheld, like personal camcorder was really. It's like they're not performing for the camera. There's not really any membrane of like performance or artifice.
Yeah.
So there's this like extremely like magical kind of like sense of presentness that it has. And because Eggleston is like a generational genius photographer, it's just got like this like amazing kind of like hypnotic eye for light and composition. So I love that movie, and I know Harmony is like a kind of an Eggleston acolyte, or like an Eggleston kind of like, I want to say they like went on some kind of like road trip or something together one time. It's like Gummo weirdly just like feels it has like a little bit of Stranded in Canton DNA in my mind. And I recommend checking out Stranded in Canton if you.
I added it to my watch list just now.
Yeah, it's on YouTube actually. If you.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
It's sick.
Yeah, I think I had seen Kids like in the early 2000s. These were Kids, and my first watch of Kids and Gummo were both like a boyfriend who made me watch the movie, type of vibe.
Yeah,
so,
totally.
So yeah, I had seen Kids like in the early 2000s. I'd seen Gummo probably in like 2009 or 2010, and I didn't really remember too much about either. What got me back into? I don't know what got me back into. Maybe like in, gosh, I'm going to bring this up on the pod again. This comes up every episode. So in like a couple years ago, I watched this movie called Relaxer. Have you seen Relaxer?
Oh,
Andre's in it.
Is that the like Joel Petrakis movie?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Actually, I can't quite remember if I've seen it, because I've seen a couple of his films. Sorry, but go on. I'm like honestly 50-50 on whether I've seen Relaxer. if you remind me like the plot of it.
It's just a guy who sits on a couch the entire movie. We never change rooms.
Okay, I think maybe I haven't seen that one.
But anyway,
okay.
That movie kind of like it was like a pivotal moment for me. It kind of challenged what I thought about film, etc.
That's
and
cool.
I like
It pilled you.
it pilled me. I've always been like into weirdo films, but I had never. I don't know. It just changed like how I considered them, I guess.
Yeah, it fucked you up.
It
changed your
fucked
life.
me up. It changed my life.
Yeah,
I thought it.
that's cool.
Anyway, so all of that happened for me, and so I went. I sought out all of Joel Petrakis's influences because I was like, I love this so much.
Okay.
What made him like this?
Yeah,
Yeah. So anyway, Harmony Korine was one of those people.
That's cool. That's really cool.
And yeah, so I just watched a bunch of his movies.
Have you met Joel? You should have him on this pod.
Okay, I haven't met Joel, but I've met a bunch of other people from their crew.
Okay, yeah.
But I talked to Joel online. He agreed to do the podcast about 2 years ago, and we've never like gotten it scheduled. He has a kid. He teaches. He like is making movies all the time. He's just like really busy.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. He's a cool guy. He's a viber. He and I would have cross paths at film festivals before.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just like he's a good
he
dude.
seems great. I'm pals with a bunch of the other people, but one day.
Yeah.
And he knows what I think. I have their shit all over my house.
And it's so special to like have an experience with a movie that really like fucks you up like that. That's like a really treasured experience kind of.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, that's stupid, but that just happened for me a couple years ago. So since then, I think I've been. I totally changed how I think about film.
Yeah, totally.
And anyway, I watched all of Harmony's movies after that.
Yeah, that makes
now
sense.
I feel shy.
It's like
I'm being so vulnerable.
No, I'm so with you, and I think it's almost like a thing of like you. It's like you.
Actually, that's also what got me into shorts.
That makes sense.
Because a lot of those people had done shorts that are in Relaxer. And I started watching their shorts, and I go, shorts are so sick. Why am I not watching shorts all the time?
It's like they're sick in a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that like it's like the thing about features that's so cool is that like tonally or experientially you can have like jags in the form, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you can do something like weird and it doesn't like make the whole movie about that.
Yeah.
But in a short, it's almost like in a short, there's almost like this kind of process of distillation or like crystalline like pressure that just like infects an edit. So it's like sometimes if a short is doing like multiple things, then it's like it becomes a single really clear thing in the edit.
Yeah.
At least in my kind of experience, which I think is sort of why like features feel like it's like the wider canvas of the feature like allows you to kind of do more just like jaggy like experiential shit. I mean, I think like at least in my opinion, like listening to you talk about the special experience that you had with that movie, it like makes me sort of think about just almost like that there are films that like remind you that like the form is young, right?
Yeah.
That like cinema just like isn't a very old thing, and it's a thing where there's like still discoveries to be made and like experiential territories to like unearth.
It's young, and so many people are not interested in experimenting with it or trying something that breaks form.
100%, exactly. That's why you get the 50% thing. That's what it's like there's like the codes, there's all these like traditional codes that are, there's all these like act structures and all these like very like simplistic kind of like storytelling conventions. And then there's another way of thinking about it where it's like where the form is like where you can use the language of cinema to unearth experiences that are otherwise completely inaccessible in any other like art form, or but it's like my current like feeling about what I at least in my own like whatever like practice as an artist or as a filmmaker, it like has to do with basically if I can like read it in a book and get the same feeling, then that's like not what I'm interested in or whatever, if I can like see a painting and those things are wonderful. Obviously it's like you can have obviously like really complex and like evocative emotional and tonal experiences with like any kind of work of art, but it's like my sort of the thing that like animates me as a filmmaker is trying to sort of discover or like spelunk into these like unexplored like territories where you can find new terrains that like that really specifically evoke something that you can kind of only geolocate within the language of this like form.
Yes, that rips. Hell yeah. And I'm only mainly interested in pursuing those type of films.
Yeah, sweet. That's sick.
Also.
Same.
I mean, I'll watch normal movies on occasion, but they just don't get me going. Like, I don't know, when you watch a film that is so cool, that's doing something you've never seen before, that's doing something different that maybe it's even upsetting, or you don't want to look at it.
Totally.
Sometimes, like, that just like activates something in my spirit that nothing else activates, you know? And I think that rocks.
I'm with you. Yeah. I'm right with you.
Hell yeah. Wow. Yeah, so Harmony's movies rock.
Shout out to Harmony.
Shout out to Harmony. Harmony always really interested in capturing stuff that isn't typically captured. Although this is probably like his most normal film, like quote unquote normal.
Well, yeah, it's like, it's almost making me want to like jump the gun and talk about the things that like rankled me about the movie, because that, you know, it's like you're a little bit touching on it.
Okay.
But I don't know. It's like, I don't want to necessarily blow the load.
You want to blow your load up top.
Talking about my rankles. Let's keep our loads intact here.
Yeah. I mean, this movie, typically, yeah, I go from start to finish, whatever. But this movie, I think the plot is less important than it is in some movies. Anyway, like it's really not about what's happening in the plot, right? It's more about the characters and their sort of emotional journey even. This
time watching the movie, I thought about, do you like this filmmaker, Raul Ruiz?
That sounds familiar. What
he's
they do?
I think he's Chilean, and he's dead now, but he's like a super like prolific kind of like film theorist and filmmaker who, you know, one of his like main kind of intellectual almost like theories about filmmaking was I guess a suspicion about, or an incredulity about central conflict theory. His whole thing kind of is like, why do movies have to have a central conflict? It's such a sort of like, it's like such a like Western convention or something, in the way that like narratives unfold. So he sort of like made a lot of really experimental features and films, you know, alone and kind of in collaboration with like classes that he was teaching as a professor and yada yada, that are just like sort of more, you know, kind of just like interested in hypothesizing other like story forms that don't have to do with like revolving around some kind of central conflict. And the way that Beach Bum is so has such a like kind of ambient relationship with like the animating like conceit or like conflict, you know, the way the stakes kind of feel a little bit like laid back all the time.
Yeah.
It reminded me of Ruiz in a way, which I thought was pretty cool.
You liked that about it. That's not your,
I love that.
That's not your rankle.
No, it's not. That's not my wrinkle at all.
Okay.
I love that stuff. I love Raul Ruiz, and I love, you know, and that, you know, that to me is just like another. It's just like another. It's another instance in which it feels like a filmmaker kind of like experimenting with the sort of the interlocking like codes of whatever, of like genre or narrative to like sort of create an experience that's like a little bit less, you know, like the movie was working best for me when it didn't feel like it was sort of like artificially creating those codes or like artificially trying to affix itself into some kind of like narrative shape. But when it was just like, when you're just kind of like rolling down the river with the Moondog or whatever, and just kind of like laid back. I love that stuff. Yeah,
Harmony has talked about how much he hates plots. And he says, like, life doesn't have plots. There's no beginning, middle, and end. Plots make me sick. Yeah, what I remember from life are scenes and characters. And that's what I want to see, is scenes and characters. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's some kind of like Ruiz adjacent thinking, I think.
Yeah. I guess, I don't know where your rankles are. Now I'm like, I'm going to step on a landmine at some point.
No, I mean, I'm like, you know, whatever. It's like, maybe I should just get out of the way or something.
Yeah. Maybe we should just get out of the way. Yeah, start with one rankle. Blow one load.
Okay. It's the music. It's like the movie has this like kind of juxtaposition between, you know, needle drops like right down the line or whatever. It's like there's some amazing needle drops in the movie, music cues that are songs like Jimmy Buffett or whatever, and you're just like, hell yeah, this is chill. And then there are these like Hollywoodish like symphonic score moments kind of like permeating the film that they just feel like they're from a different movie. It feels like producer notes or something. It doesn't feel like, it feels like it's stuff that's trying to like fit the movie into like a more digestible like narrative package. It feels like it's like indicating like emotionality so that you as an audience member are like supposed to like know how to feel or something like that. And for me, I'm like, that stuff feels like artifice. It doesn't feel it. And I don't know that I felt like aware of that when I first watched the movie. I think I was just like,
but when you're hearing it come out of your laptop speakers, you're
man, this crap.
Yeah.
When you have all the horsepower of a laptop in your lap, things kind of start to feel a little bit different. Yeah, it's like when I just sort of felt like anytime a symphonic score would come in, it took me out of the experience a little bit and made me feel like... It harshed
your vibe.
It harshed my vibe. It harshed my mellow. It made me feel... And it didn't... You
want to hear Margaritaville, and that's not what you're getting.
It's like I might be wrong, but it's like it just didn't feel like it's in Harmony's voice or something. It just like felt like it's like... It felt like a more... Like it felt a little bit more like focus grouped or something.
Yeah.
And I can imagine along the way, because the movie's like, whatever, because it had like a wider release and like movie stars in it. Mm-hmm. I imagine like
notes were given.
I just know, mm-hmm. I've been as a filmmaker and or as an editor, just like throughout the process, just like I know that there's like pressure mm-hmm. to like be, and depending on like the scale of the movie and who's involved in the movie, there are all kinds of pressures to like make, choices that might reduce like a perceived sensation of like alienation mm-hmm. on the part of like some imagined like audience member. And I know that like I know that like a lot of financiers are risk averse, and I know that I just wondered, it made me like curious whether that choice to have like kind of a traditional symphonic Hollywood score be like part of the language of the movie was something that was not, coming from the same place as like a lot of the other stuff in the movie.
Yeah. I didn't really consider the music that deeply. So like I don't have like specific memory of the non-hit singles music in the movie.
Yeah.
But I think in general, overall in this movie, I could see like you can kind of feel that it's not as purely Harmony as other things that we've seen.
Yeah.
Totally. There are other voices, there's other people's hands in this, and you can tell.
Yeah, you feel it. You feel it a little bit.
Yeah.
It's like
you still feel Harmony in there somewhere.
You do, and that's kind of what is dank about the movie. But it's like, you feel like kind of like the broadening, like kind of corporate hand or something.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah, and like, this just felt like it tried to be a little more mainstream than anything he's done, and maybe he also had pressure from like the wave after Spring Breakers being like so huge,
I'm sure that's true.
And kind of plopping into such a more wider audience after that, too, than he's ever used to having,
Totally.
The movies before that are just like old people fucking trash and...
Yeah. I know, yeah.
Et cetera.
And it's like, it's like big surprise. It's like the Suits came in and the movie was a bomb.
Yeah.
People want to see people fucking trash. They want to see humpers.
Or fish.
They want to see fish getting fucked.
Yeah, I think my biggest complaint about this movie is that there weren't enough fish getting fucked.
I know.
Although there was a little bit of talk about fish getting fucked.
It's true.
Which
was nice. Which was a breath of fresh air.
And at that part, you go, okay, now this is my kind of movie.
That's when you turn the volume all the way up.
Hell yeah.
You start to vibe out. You start to dance.
Blow out those laptop speakers on that one.
My poor laptop. Its speakers are already blown out. I have to use headphones with this puppy. Yeah.
Okay, we've talked about how there's kind of only a small amount of plot in this movie. We mainly focus on our main character, Moondog, who is Matthew McConaughey's character. McConaughey is what I was about to say.
You can't say that shit.
His people might come after me.
Shout out to Matthew. It was a big mistake what was just said. We retract it.
I deeply apologize.
We are sorry.
So Harmony in real life lives in Miami, and most of the characters in this film are based loosely off of weirdo freaks he hangs out with in Miami and the Keys, which rocks. Okay, so let's talk about Moondog. What's this guy like? He's a writer. He's, more importantly, an old stoner, a free spirit. He lives in the Keys. He's a town celeb. A town flirt, even. One thing I love about him is that he's also not really discerning in his women. Like, he'll go after the oldies, the youngies, anybody. And I think that's beautiful.
Totally.
Also important to his character are his glasses.
Oh, yeah. It's a great costume choice.
It is. I think most of the characters in this movie have interesting costume choices, and the glasses were such a moment for him. I think that's half his character is the glasses.
I think you're right. Yeah.
I don't even know what is the point of like this style of glasses, because they're like sunglasses, but you can flip the sunnies up, but there's
Yeah.
nothing underneath. It's not like other glasses underneath.
It's like sometimes he'll put on like reading glasses. It's like he'll flip the sunglasses part up and then put reading glasses on, right?
That's pretty funny when he does that.
I love the costume design choices. The whole style of the movie is sick. It's like the movement of the camera, all the aesthetic kind of like there's so many ideas sort of in the visual like field of the movie kind of happening all the time.
Yeah, the visual feel and style of the movie. It's almost a lot of times it's kind of like a collage, right? Like how they film their dialogue scenes and stuff like that, where they change locations constantly.
Yeah, totally.
I think that is so cool.
Yeah, there's a feeling like it's a kind of roving, just documentary style camera that has, and I think the camera has like an aesthetic sense for, it's like the camera's looking for like visual pleasure, right? In the same way that Moondog is. And then, but there's a feeling like the camera's just roaming and the characters are just roaming. And then in the edit, we're just kind of like getting all these kind of moments juxtaposed against each other.
Imagine what it would be like to edit this movie. And you could, of course, imagine that easier than I could, because I don't understand video editing.
Yeah, I was imagining it. I and I was thinking about it, and I think it's cool, and I think in some ways it's like the editing of this movie it has stuff in common with Spring Breakers. It's like there's a sort of like more diffuse like time base. Yeah. Right. It's not as linear. It's like you have almost like a node of linear time, or you have like an area of time, and like within that area there are all this kind of like collage of moments that feel like they're like cross cutting with each other or whatever. They're like sometimes they're like intercut with each other, or sometimes we'll hang on a scene or on an exchange between characters or something. But
sometimes they're talking and it's like they're standing, then they're sitting, then they're fishing, then they're driving, and it's all like part of the same scene. It's the same conversation.
I think that stuff's cool, and I like, it seems like a fun way to make a movie, and it seems like it's also really conducive to like improvisation. And I imagine it just feels like this movie had a lot of improvisation. So it just feels like you can just imagine how fun it would be to sort of like as an actor, get embedded in a character through like their voice or intonation or whatever, or their posture, and then you just kind of play in the world.
Harmony likes to say no improv, there's riffing.
Yeah, okay, yeah. That sounds cool. And it's just like you just imagine, I don't really know how he directed this movie, but it's like I like to imagine that it's almost like you like prepare situations for the actors or something, or like you like prepare a location, and then you just kind of get to like freewheel around and be like, go interact with this person or this like image or something, this like pier or something. Yeah. Look at the sun over there. Yeah. Let's set you guys here.
Kick this dude playing tuba into the ocean.
Yeah. Love that. Love the tuba.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That is delicious.
There are over 300 locations in this film too, because of how he does that and how he cuts everything together. Yeah. He films everything 3 or 4 times in different places and then cuts everything together.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's pretty chill.
And Harmony says it keeps him from getting bored.
Yeah, it would be fucking
Whenever
so
I get
boring.
bored, I'll just change the location where the conversation's happening.
And do the same thing.
He also said he did that in this movie to make it feel a little stoned, and not in a drug sense, but like he wanted it to feel like weed smoke wafting through the scenes.
Yeah.
It's kind of a wild way to describe it, but kind of cool.
I think that's really cool. I think that's like it's like a nicely like experimentally experiential way to like think about how a narrative would unfold, right? Yeah. It's less like you're just being told like clear like meaning beats, and more like you're like things are freer to feel more associative and
and kind of loosely related.
Yeah.
But also not.
That stuff's delicious. I love as an audience member when I get to like do work. I love when I get to like put things together. When it's not just kind of like stuff being told to me. Yeah. That it always makes me feel more engaged in a movie.
I agree. And what we get from at least the beginning part of this movie, it are just like snippets of Matthew McConaughey or the other couple characters just doing little things, and then it moves on. So you kind of, but even just with that much information, which is not much, he's still able to provide such a complete picture of each person, I think.
Totally.
And I think that rocks. He also said about Matthew McConaughey's character that a lot of the time they were just filming him drinking and peeing. And that's what he wanted the essence of his character to be. Someone taking in and putting out all the time. Sucking in the world and peeing it out.
That's fair. That seems fun.
I think that's a cool way to think about that character, too.
It wasn't what anyone wanted, but Matthew McConaughey just couldn't stop drinking and peeing, and they were just like, I guess this is the movie. I guess this is what we're going to get.
Well, he also wanted to play with his persona, or like the people's perception of what his personality is like a weird, like kind of freewheeling stoner, right? Like that's how you would think of Matthew McConaughey. I
guess so. I mean, I really feel like we're, the golden age of Matthew. I mean, this is like, he's just been in, I feel like since Killer Joe. Have you seen that movie?
I don't think so. Maybe.
In my opinion, that's the gateway film between like romantic comedy Matthew McConaughey and like fucking sick character actor Matthew McConaughey. Killer Joe is an amazing movie. Highly recommend it.
I don't think I've seen this.
It's fucking dank movie. Really interesting. Psycho movie.
Okay, I add it to my list.
Matthew McConaughey is so cool in it, and he's so crazy in it.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like I think that's sort of when his career really changed, in my opinion. That's when we entered the golden era.
Was he for a while stuck in like rom-coms?
100%. Yeah. He was fully like a rom-com like leading man.
Yeah.
Guy, and this kind of when he started to do like more like darker and like weirder stuff. And I feel
I love when hot guys get rich and then they go, "Nah, my new thing is I'm weird."
Yeah, I know. Well, and I wonder what Matthew McConaughey was in after Beach Bum. Because in some ways, I feel like Beach Bum is like the climax of that era.
He did another movie that was like a big pot movie too. I can't remember what it was called, but I did see that one in theaters. Okay, hold on.
I wonder which one you're thinking of.
I'm looking it up. Yeah, The Gentleman is the movie that I saw. That's another big weed movie.
Really?
Where he's like a big time like pot dealer.
Right, that's
like
interesting.
Mafia type pot dealer.
Interesting. Yeah, so I have not seen that movie. And I know that Matthew McConaughey is like, he has like now, I mean, he wrote a book and he's having like political ambitions.
And he did Serenity right before Beach Bum. Have you seen Serenity?
I have seen Serenity. Serenity is a very special film.
That's one word for it.
But yeah, so it's like, and I sort of think, I don't know that it's like, it doesn't quite feel like we're in the golden age of McConaughey anymore. It feels like he's like entering this like new chapter in his career, whatever, where he's like sort of like more focused on whatever, like literary or political ambitions or something like that.
He's trying to be smart now.
He
goes, first I'm hot, then I'm weird, then I'm a stoner, now I'm smart.
Yeah. Those are the 4 cycles of every human life.
Maybe he's just trying to like prove that he's not the previous thing every time. Like,
maybe
you think
true.
I'm hot? No, I'm actually weird. Oh, you think I'm weird? I'm not weird. I'm just a stoner. Oh,
right.
You think I'm stupid, stoner? No, I'm smart. I'm writing books.
I'm smart. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and it's like it's cool to like think reflexively about how Beach Bum like fits into his like body of work or whatever in that way.
Yeah, what it did to him.
Yeah, or what it like kind of capped off or something. How it's like the thesis or something. And then he's like, okay, now I'm going to do Hank the Cat. Now I'm going to just like kind of be in cartoons and grab some cash and write a book.
Yeah, because he couldn't have made much money on this. I mean,
on
arguably no money. Yeah.
Arguably no money. I mean, God knows. Who knows?
I mean, if the whole budget was only $5 million and they got all these big stars in there,
then presumably people are getting paid some money to be in the movie, and they're like getting points on the back end.
And there's 300 locations.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, but you got to imagine if you're an actor, it's like pretty delicious to like get to work on a movie like
and
this.
And the amount of props involved. Yeah.
You get to like play with props, you get to pee all the time. Just really fun. And Matthew McConaughey doesn't pee unless it's like for a movie. So he had a lot of pee like stored up. He had pee like
his balls are huge.
He was really just where pee stored. Yeah, that's the place. That's the place in the body where the pee is.
Yeah.
So you got to imagine it's.
I read that during filming too, because he's pissing all the time, that he would get crowds for the weenie.
Really? People would like show up.
Who knows if that's true or not? But I did read it. There's no way to tell. And in fact, most of what comes out of Harmony's mouth, probably not true.
I'm confused about the mechanics of it. Like whenever he would start to pee, a crowd would form. I'm just trying to imagine like logistically how that would work.
Well, they want to get eyes on the prize.
Like a paparazzi, like there's just like people waiting. Like how do they hear about it in time?
There's got to be like some amount of crowd just kind of like around anyway.
Yeah,
right?
people are hanging. Yeah,
you
right.
see a movie set, you go, ooh, looky-loos. And
then whenever he starts to pee, they're like, he's doing it!
Somebody goes, ah! And then they all run. Stampede.
Right. There's like a buzzer that goes off.
Has he ever done nudity in a film, frontal?
I don't know.
I don't know either. People who are listening, at me with Matthew McConaughey's weenie in a film.
Everybody, come on.
Dick pics, only of Matthew McConaughey.
And hurry.
Stat. It's important for my research. But I just feel like that would make it more like, special.
Yeah.
If they never, you never seen it before.
Right. It'd be a lot more rare.
It's mysterious.
If you want to see, you don't want to look at a penis that you've seen somewhere else. You want a one-of-a-kind experience when you see a penis.
Absolutely. Yeah.
The second you view a penis, all of its magic goes away.
Yeah. I mean, all of the magic is in the mythos. Like, as soon as that's destroyed, you go, oh, it looks like a penis.
It's like indigenous cultures believing that your soul is stolen by a photograph.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like when his penis is photographed, then the soul gets sucked out of it. The soul, which is stored in the balls, it gets sucked out of the penis when a picture is taken. And the camera takes 24 pictures per second, so that's a lot of souls.
The soul is stored in the balls. Oh my gosh, my cheeks can't take it. I'm getting cheek biceps. Also, my glasses are crooked.
That's strong.
Yeah, my cheeks are actually really strong because
You're strong.
I'm always lifting them up. I got these big old cheeks, and I'm going just all day long.
You gotta hold your face up.
Yeah, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah, you're all the work.
I got a lot of face. Oh my goodness! All right, wow, we're an hour and a half. We've been talking already.
only like 5. There's 5 usable minutes. You gotta cut most of this out.
And so far into the movie, we've cracked what is Matthew McConaughey's character. All right, so Matthew McConaughey, married to Isla Fisher in the movie. She's kind of boring. Just a hot
in real
rich.
life.
Wait, are they? No, they're not.
No.
Okay. I don't know what these celebs are doing.
I'm just doing a bit. I'm just riffing now.
Were you doing improv?
No, everything I've said so far is true, but this time I wanted to say.
Well, now we don't know who to trust. I think she's probably my least favorite in this movie. Well, no, second least favorite. There's just not much to her. She's just a hot rich Miami wife.
Is it Jonah Hill?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think everyone hates Jonah. I mean, I don't know, whatever. I think a lot of people dislike Jonah Hill in this movie. Mm-hmm. I'll stick up for him a little bit. I think he's doing some I think he's just being experimental in this movie.
He's trying something.
I respect the swing that he's taking.
Okay.
Some people might say that he should have been cut out of the movie.
But the movie would be exactly the same, if not better, if he just weren't in it at all. We didn't need his storyline.
That's the company line, okay? but what I'll say is that I think, when I see Jonah Hill doing something like that, I'm like, that's strange. All right.
That's kind of kooky.
That's how I feel. I'm like, okay.
You go, well, that just happened.
I'm a little bit, I guess I'm a little bit down.
You're into it, what he's doing.
I mean, I don't know that I would go that far, but I would be a little less of a naysayer. For my personal opinion of what he's doing is that it's not fully toxic to me. It's not toxic waste. Some people might be like, this is toxic waste.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way about it. I'm like, it's kooky. I'm a little bit down.
I think it just totally doesn't fit in the movie at all. What is he doing?
It's like a patois sort of vibe. And I don't know what he's doing. And it feels a little bit like, it feels improvisational too. It feels a little bit like...
I think they all got to come up with more personalization for their characters. Everything was very written, but they got to invent, who am I? What's my thing? What's my gag? What is it about me? Yeah. So I do declare that he picked that accent.
Okay. Right. I believe that. You're probably right. And to Jonah, I say, it's a big swing, and I'd like to see a big swing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bold.
And what's he up to? Nothing.
Jonah?
Yeah.
These days?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What is he up to? Is
He's playing some stuff.
Is he doing acting still?
I don't know.
I feel like he took a step back for a sec.
I don't know.
Do you think? Am I making this up? I might be just totally fabricating lies.
I feel like I'm not. I feel like I'm like I'm not that up on what's going on about anything. Ever.
Oh, he was in Don't Look Up. We remember.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, I saw that picture.
I also saw the picture.
Yeah.
And he was in Maniac right before this. That show, you remember?
Oh yeah.
The show with What's Her Head.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that was huge for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then some children's movies. So he's been out there.
Okay.
Then we also have Snoop Dogg.
Right.
Snoop Dogg, best thing about his character is his name, which is, he picked his name. He asked to be called Lingerie.
But it's often called Lounger, right?
He's called different variations of abbreviations of lingerie.
Okay.
So sometimes he's called
cool.
Lange. Sometimes he's called Ray.
Right.
I actually love like a shortened name that's not short for what you think it is. Like Ray short for lingerie. I love that. I think that's really funny. I had a dream once. I had a dream once that I met a girl named Kate, but instead of being short for like Catherine or something, it was short for vacation.
Wow. That's kind of like a literary dream to have. It's a dream about like wordplay.
I dream different than normal people.
Yeah. It seems like
I have like really vivid, detailed dreams. And I have a lot of them, and I usually remember them.
Wow, interesting. Do you have a really good memory in general about other stuff?
No.
Okay. Interesting.
I have a selective memory. I'll usually remember my dreams for like that day. I try and write them down though.
Okay.
So that I remember them for a long time. But eventually you get away from the context. I remember some forever, but some leave. Some leave my brain. I've been keeping like a private dream Twitter so that instead of like a dream journal, because my dreams are so detailed and vivid, if I keep a dream journal, I just write so much. I write like pages and pages. So I started doing a Twitter so that I'm just getting the essence and it doesn't bog me down writing all my dreams in it.
And supposedly if you write about your dreams, it like helps you remember them, right? It like creates more of a mechanism for remembering your dreams.
Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. But I'll tell you, it's really cool when I go back and read ones that I have no memory of.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
That is cool.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
I thought if I ever made films, I'd probably start making them based on my dreams.
Yeah, you should license your dreams to some production company. You should do it to like Nike.
Give Nike my dreams.
To make commercials.
This sounds terrible. The horrifying future no one wants. Anyway, where were we?
Something about a movie.
Snoop Dogg being lingerie. He asked to be called lingerie. He was initially scripted to just be Snoop Dogg, and he asked to be called lingerie because he's smooth and silky as a motherfucker, was the quote that
No one can deny it.
No one can deny. So that rocks. What happens next? The daughter's wedding. The whole thing is that McConaughey has to go back to Miami where his wife lives and go to his daughter's wedding. Not much happens at the wedding, but there are two things that are cool. One, he makes an entrance. And I love the entrance.
on the like little boat when he pulls up?
No, on him actually
okay.
Coming into the wedding, pushing a lady in a wheelchair, running her off the stage, just like letting go at some point so she crashes, and says, "Bye, Mom." And then just kidding, sweetie, that's not my mom, you know that. And then it's kind of like not addressed what's happening with her on the side.
I'm pretty down with all the like incidental acts of cruelty toward like extras, basically. That it's just like kind of people are just kind of like constantly sort of like violently accosting like extras in the movie in a way that like there's never any repercussions, and it gives it like a cartoonish quality, a loony kind of loony violence that
Harmony said that this guy's just pursuing pleasure, and so sometimes that means he's doing good stuff, and sometimes that means he's doing bad stuff, but he's doing whatever makes him feel good in that moment.
He's chaotic neutral.
Yeah. But maybe sometimes a little evil, but we don't think about it. Right. None of the evil has much weight.
Right.
The second thing about the wedding is that the character of the groom, his character name is Groom Limp Dick, which I just think is funny.
That is funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah. They kind of tease this guy for...
They call him Lip Dick the whole time.
Yeah, for a lot of the
that's
movie.
Like his name.
That's his character name. And it's funny because he just looks like a normal guy, you know? Like, he's even like a little classically handsome young man, and they just kind of roast him, which I think is so funny.
Yeah, great character.
Yeah, bless him. So Moondog finds out that his wife is cheating on him with Snoop Dogg and gets depressed, but then she comes to find him, and we get a beautiful montage of them being in love and getting fucked up.
Yeah, I'm pretty down with like how they handled the infidelity aspect. It just didn't seem like a big deal to anyone.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like kind of a cool, I mean, I just love when the movie, I mean, it's like another kind of Ruiz sort of vibe. It's like it just kind of like bucks the convention of like creating conflict. Mm-hmm. It's like it just sort of like pleasantly de-emphasizes the conflict.
He seems kind of cool with it as long as she loves him.
Yeah.
That was like, he just want to make sure that she loves him. And as long as you love me, go ahead and, fuck Snoop Dogg.
And there's never really any ambiguity about that, about whether he's loved. Yeah. He's pretty loved.
Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of queering the narrative of hetero relationships.
Mm-hmm. And God knows they need queering.
Yeah. I support that. So they do get fucked up and go driving, and they do get in a car accident where she dies afterwards. Mm-hmm. After saying her final lines, her final words to him, "You're such a fuck up," and then instantly dies.
And who hasn't?
There's a lot of like little funny. There's a lot of like little funny moments in this film. Yeah. Probably one of the more funny films he's done, I think.
Yeah, I guess maybe I agree. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think Trash Humpers is really funny.
It is funny. You don't be doing a lot of ha-ha-has, though.
No, you do some little chuckles.
A little couple chuckles, or you just have a smile on. Beach
Bum is really funny. It's like the Martin Lawrence gags are pretty funny. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of really funny stuff. It's a lot of like silly, kind of cartoonishly funny stuff in this movie.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I think he was really inspired by Cheech and Chong, too. He said.
Oh, yeah. You feel it.
And he's like, just any moment, you can just pop in and you'd be laughing. Something goofy.
It's kind of, it's like you feel that not just in like the stonery nature of the movie, but just in the kind of like the texture of it. Mm-hmm. Kind of like it's like the stakes being low and the kind of like the episodic like romps.
And he's just drinking in the world and pissing it out, like we said. And same happens with his wife's death. Like kind of, he doesn't even seem that sad about it.
Doesn't seem
we
sad.
Just kind of move on, even though we have just like gone over this whole thing where they're so in love.
Yeah.
And he's like so distressed that she might be cheating on him, and it turns out we have the power of love, etc. And then she dies, and he's like, well, I'm going to take her boots and hit the road.
Even the extent to which it is sad feels a little bit like artificial or something. Yeah. It feels like I'm like curious to see the version of the movie where he's even less sad, where it's almost like the stuff where it's like I love the idea of Moondog as like kind of a static character where he's just like sort of behaving, in this like kind of transcendental, like cosmic way and like doing the stuff. Almost like a superhero or something. Yeah. And then he's sort of just like unaffected and like open. Yeah. And like having fun all the time, no matter what. That
pretty much almost is how he is.
Yeah, it almost is. And then there's like, but then it's like the cloying like symphonic score. Like occasionally it just tries to insipidly like tell us that it's like, no, this is sad.
He gets sad about the Snoop Dogg thing.
Yeah.
And then when else is he sad? The end of the movie?
I don't think he's sad at the end. I think he's
not the very end, prior to the end. When is he sad again? There's another point, isn't there? I don't know. Maybe we'll get there later. He's sad only one or two times in the film.
There's no way to tell.
There's no who can say? There's no way to tell. I'm not reading all my notes to get there.
No way.
So the whole thing becomes he needs to write a novel or else he won't get any money, any of the riches that his wife had, or the house or the cars or anything, till he writes this novel.
Right.
Which he does not want to do. And also due to the accident, and then what he does after the accident, which is grab all the homeless people he can find and go destroy the mansion.
Yeah.
And get arrested. He gets sentenced to a year in rehab where he meets Zac Efron.
Right.
Zac Efron, one of my favorite parts of the movie.
He does a fine job in this movie. He's got an exquisite style.
Exquisite. Chef's kiss. His facial hair, I mean...
Yeah, he's coiffed.
Allegedly inspired by a panini sandwich.
Yeah.
Which I think rocks.
That's cool. Yeah, I hadn't heard that. And I buy it.
Yeah, Harmony apparently saw a panini sandwich with those grill marks on the side and goes, that is what I want his facial hair to look like. And they made it happen. And
it's inspiring.
Yeah.
All the other characters are like other types of sandwiches. Harmony is really exclusively inspired by cuisine he encounters in the world. Most sandwiches, nondescript.
Yeah, but a panini, he's got character.
Panini. ooh, boy, you see a panini over there. That's when you get some marks.
If only all men could look like a panini. What a different world we'd live in.
But in our fucked up reality, men don't look anything like a panini.
You could be panini, but you Playin. Yeah, he's got not only the panini head, but he's got Jinkos, he's got the big Bluetooth. Basically everything he says or that happens with his character is so funny. I love it. He plays Creed, and he says, check out this cool Christian metal band from Albuquerque.
and he's pretty evil. His character is like a little bit evil.
He's a little bit evil because he's like Christian, but he says something like, well, Jesus already like died for our sins, so we can do whatever, kind of.
Right.
Yeah, that rocks. He raises absolute hell. They break out of the rehab together, crash a wedding. Efron kicks a groom into the ocean. Again, just kicking someone into the ocean. They steal a boat. He talks about how he used to light people's houses on fire and almost killed some kids. And he's so nonchalant about it.
Sorry, hang on just 1 second. I have to like reply to this message. Your
reply face is so intense.
Okay. All right, I'm done.
Was that real or cartoon?
It was cartoon. I was doing cartoon.
That was amazing. Why aren't you doing more acting?
I don't know. People don't. Are
you camera shy?
I do a lot of acting, but I keep getting cut out of everything.
Really? Is that true?
No, not really. No.
You've done a small amount of acting, at least.
I've done a small amount.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done a minor amount.
You pop up every here.
I would do more. I like to do more acting. Acting is fun. Yeah.
Do it.
Okay. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Filmmakers, you heard it here first. Give Harrison a call to be in your filmies.
Here I go. My acting is about to begin.
Hell yeah. I support this. ScreenVomit backed. I do think if I had to pick a what were you calling him? A cankle?
A rankle. Yeah.
If I had to pick a cankle with this film, I think the first half of the film, up to maybe this point, has a little bit too much montage.
That's interesting.
There's a lot of montages.
Sometimes I felt a little bit of the artificiality of the montage. Yeah. I think I really maybe felt it most like in the like Isla Fisher, the kind of like love hanging out montage before she dies in the car crash. I guess I could really see the wheels turning or whatever in terms of like how they were like cross-cutting the different kind of like scenes where their scene work was happening. Kind of because a lot of the scenes were just like sort of, I felt a little like vacant or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it didn't seem like so profound, the fun they were having. Just my 2 cents.
Because they're kind of just being normal a lot. They're like sitting somewhere and smoking a joint. Or like...
Yeah, they're sitting giggling and smoking a joint and like... Yeah.
You're like, I've been more in love than that.
Right. It's like the.
That don't impress me much.
Yeah. I couldn't have said it better. It does not impress me. I do not feel impressed by it.
Yeah, but I think so. The first half of this movie, there are some things that are impressive to me that we've kind of talked about. The way things are shot, etc. The way scene continuity goes with their conversations and stuff. That stuff is impressive to me. But I do think there are too many montages. It feels like nothing a lot of the time. But I think the second half of the movie is so much stronger that it kind of, I don't know, makes up for it. It makes me like the movie again. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your favorite part of the movie?
There's a couple parts that I really like. I really like everything that happens with Zac Efron's character. I just said I really like his character. So funny. Everything he says is really funny. Martin Lawrence's part, which is next in the movie, also really funny. So it's like all these really solid parts happen. Like
totally.
Right in a row. I mean, pretty much like here on out.
You're all in from here on out.
I love the movie. Yeah, like
you're vibing. Yeah.
So much great stuff happens, and there's so much less montages, and there's more adventures.
Yeah, totally.
Just in general.
I'm with you.
Yeah. So Martin Lawrence,
great.
Amazing, so funny. He hadn't acted in 5 years before this. He was a get for this movie.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't know what's been going on with him really in his life. I feel like I love Blue Streak. I'm a big fan of Blue Streak.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see Martin Lawrence pop up in this. And yeah, I remember finding when I first saw the movie his like episode extremely funny. And yeah, it still hits. It's just frankly a good gag. It's a nice loony silly gag.
Yeah, it's very silly. He's just a boat captain with a coke addicted parrot. His whole thing is he takes people out on rides to go see dolphins, but people are dying on his boat rides. He walks with a limp because he's got shrapnel lodged in his nutsack, is what he says. Right. He's got all these little, like, tiny character things about him, which are so gorgeous. He also has, like, this crazy Jeep. And apparently there's a guy that lives in the Keys, a local yokel, I guess some would say, who drives a neon Jeep that's covered in coconuts. And everybody knows this guy. He comes around and sells coconut water to everybody. And Harmony tried to get that Jeep, that specific Jeep, for this movie.
Wow.
So the people there would be like, oh, the guy, whatever. But apparently it can only drive a quarter mile. So.
Okay. And they had to drive a lot farther.
They had to drive a little farther than a quarter mile. Yeah. So they just had to, like, make their own thing as a nod to that guy's Jeep, but not
That's
exact.
A nice tidbit.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I never would have known that.
Yeah. Well, no, nobody would know. But apparently the actual guy who owned the coconut Jeep was mad that they didn't get to put his Jeep in the movie, though.
Well, maybe he should have fixed his Jeep so it could drive more than a quarter of a mile. Seems like he's expecting a lot.
Well, you get all excited. You're just some local guy from the Keys, and then somebody says, "I'm gonna make you a star," you know.
Yeah, they're like, we
Jonah
want to use
Hill
your
comes
Jeep.
in and goes,
your Jeep, it works, right? Yeah, we want to use your Jeep. Your Jeep, which I assume is in working order.
Not at all. Turns out
it doesn't work at all. You can drive it like for 1 second, and it breaks down.
Yeah. Like literally, how long does it take to drive a quarter mile?
I guess it depends on how fast you're going.
20 seconds.
Yeah.
So they end up on the boat, taking out a family to go see, quote unquote, the dolphins. The girl in the family is Harmony's daughter, Lefty, his actual daughter.
Nice. Okay, good to know.
That kid makes jewelry now and sells it online. I don't know.
Let's buy some. What are we doing here?
Considered it. She has an Instagram for it.
Really?
Yeah.
Shout out to
Lefty.
What's her name?
Lefty. Hell yeah. So he does jump in the water to swim with the dolphins. However, they're not, in fact, dolphins. They're sharks. And we get a huge CGI shark that bites his ass.
And it's delicious to see.
I love to see that.
The audience loves that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's so
when
surprising.
There's a big shark. Yeah.
We knew the sharks were under there. I couldn't have anticipated that the shark would come out of the water. And all that's happened is that his foot got bit off, and somehow they reclaimed the foot. And him, the rest of him.
And I'm fine with that.
And I'm fine with that. Not asking any more questions. I don't need to know how him and his severed foot got back on the boat.
Don't tell us. No. We don't want to know.
I don't want to know. I don't need to know.
We're happy.
No questions.
We're content.
I feel good about it. I move on.
Yeah. And I never think about it again.
No. Because everything else that happens is so funny. You go, well, this led to comedy. I'm great with this. He says that dolphin got teeth. And then Moondog trades Martin Lawrence's own foot for his captain's hat. An amazing trade. And all this fucked up stuff is happening, but it still stays, like, the vibe stays so chill.
Yeah.
This guy got bit by a shark, lost his foot, is maybe dying, we don't know. And he's just like, go walk funny for a little bit, you'll be normal, give me your hat, I'll see you later. It's like there's no like chaos feeling about it.
Yeah, we don't need to like deal with there being some big conflict about it.
No. Yeah.
It's just one of many colors that washes over us.
People lose feet every day, and it's actually not that big a deal.
People are constantly losing feet, and we shouldn't even be talking about it.
Literally. I'm kind of upset that I even brought it up, to be honest.
When a foot falls off, it's fine.
It's
Relax.
fine. It happens. It's normal. What do you think? You're the only one whose foot fell off?
Why are we going on about it?
So we go back to meet Snoop Lingerie and Jimmy Buffett. Jimmy Buffett's in the movie, and him and Snoop make a song too called Moonfog for the film.
I like this section of the movie. I like. I think if I had to pick my favorite kind of like little episode. It might have to do with like the Rasta pilot.
Yeah.
I like that guy a lot, and his like glaucoma eyes.
Yeah, that is pretty
to me
funny.
is like
yeah. So like the whole thing is he's still hot because he broke out of rehab.
Right.
So he's a wanted man. So for a while they kind of, I don't know, forget that he's a wanted man, or they hatch a scheme that they're going to dress him in woman's clothes and pass him off. Nobody will know it's him, but he actually looks
and
exactly the same.
There's never any sense that anyone's really chasing him either. There's never really like a feeling that he's in any.
Even at the point that we see there is an active cop car zooming towards their house and the chain has been activated, like, yo, on the walkie, like the cops are coming, get out, you know, it's still like a comically long length of time that they have to like get all this weed onto a van, onto a plane. They're saying goodbyes, like all this stuff is happening and the cops have still not arrived.
Yeah, the stakes are low. The stakes are very the stakes are
like,
low.
Even when the stake is introduced, like the stake is on its way, it's still like kind of taking its time.
Yeah, no worries. Love it.
Yeah,
love that.
Hakuna Matata. So yeah, they do have to make the escape. And yeah, the one guy is a blind pilot. Not only 98% blind in both eyes, but he goes, the only way I can fly is if I smoke this gigantic blunt, like amazingly large blunt, but also drink mushroom tea and what else? Oh, do coke.
Yeah.
He's like, only when I do these three things, the spirit guides me and I can get you to your place safe.
Yeah, I love this character and this like conceit. I was just so down with the vibe of this part. It felt really Cheech and Chong-ish to me.
Absolutely, yeah. Mm-hmm. Very silly amounts of like stonerdom.
Yes.
Huge amounts of weed that they're packing for their getaways.
Yeah, like a wheelbarrow full of weed.
Absolutely. Some would say several wheelbarrows.
Some might say that.
Wheelbarrow. Why do I struggle? Wheelbarrow. Is it barrow or barrel?
Barrow. Wheelbarrows.
Wheelbarrow.
Right? Yeah. Now I'm confused.
We're finding out I'm high as fuck.
You're insanely stoned.
This is a secret. I've never smoked weed in my life.
Oh, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Is it really a secret?
No. It's not a secret, but it feels like it. It feels like something that you get judged for.
You should do a super stoned. You should smoke weed for the first time on the air.
I don't think I would ever smoke. I would consider doing edibles.
Okay. Edibles are maybe even more of an intense experience potentially, depending on how.
It would just be the actual smoking in the lungs scenario that I don't want to happen.
Okay, gotcha.
Not the highness of it has nothing to do with why I wouldn't want to smoke. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well,
I don't want to harm my little baby lungs.
And I'm
allergic to smoke. That's the second thing.
Well, and you couldn't be more different from the characters in this film that we're talking about.
They love it. Apparently on set a couple times, Snoop switched out their fake prop weed for Snoop weed.
Yeah.
And
I've heard about that.
Tricked people. Yeah.
That's a fun situation to be in my opinion. To me, that's a little bit fun. If that happened to me, I'd be like, that's fun.
I don't know. I can't decide, like, because you want to say, like, oh, that's fun, that's party, whatever. But, like, in a way, he's also kind of drugging people against their will.
Yeah, for sure.
Non-consensually. So then you go,
right. And to me, it's very fun. I think in real life, I don't know. I think if it was Snoop Dogg, I think in that kind of
you're
setting,
giving consent personally
if you're
to be drugged.
If you're shooting a movie with Snoop Dogg in it,
yeah,
and there's like a lot of weed in the movie, it can't be that remote a thought that there's like
that some of it's going to be real. There's going to be a time when it's real.
It's not. Yeah, I think on some level it's like, yeah, you know, I think it's the morality might be like questionable. It might be a little like gray area.
Yeah,
I think equally gray area with like another kind of like prank, you know, but. But I think to some extent, if you like acquiesce to if you're in if you find yourself in that situation and you're not at least a little prepared.
I guess also if at least you know that like Matthew McConaughey is a smoker. So like at least you have like that basis.
Right, that's true. Yeah, I agree. I think it'd be different if Snoop Dogg like just drugged you, for example, for the first, and you'd like never been
I personally have almost been drugged on multiple occasions.
Yeah,
So-
that seems bad. You don't want to. That doesn't sound good. But
No.
you know, if you're McConaughey,
Yeah, he's probably
and
down.
Snoop Dogg passes you a joint, and it's not prop weed, it's like real weed.
Yeah. And I feel like you know the instant it happens, right?
Yeah, I think you would. I think you would know
would
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to not do it, you would do the tiniest little toke of it and be like, this is not correct.
You'd have a sensation. You'd have a
Yeah.
I think you'd be able to discern.
Probably the whole smell of the air, I imagine, is entirely different.
I've used prop weed in a movie before, and we used a Demiana, I think.
Yeah.
Which is like some other like herb that doesn't have any like psychoactive effect. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has a different scent.
Weed's a pretty particular smell.
Yeah, I mean, you have to imagine Snoop Dogg's weed, like in particular, is like a stinky ass strain. I mean,
Stanky, some would say.
yeah, stanky. Yeah.
They talked about the crew on a couple occasions being like kind of fucked out of their minds just from like being in the room with what was going on because there was so much happening.
That sounds fun.
You're mad that you weren't hired.
Yeah, it just sounds like a fun situation.
So they fly to Key West. He gets back on his little houseboat. Snoop gave him some money to get back to his life. He's back in hog heaven, raising hell. But he does finish his book, which he calls The Beach Bum, the title of the movie.
Crazy coincidence.
Yeah, it's so random.
I can't believe that they nailed that.
Yeah.
It's so funny that
They predicted the name of the
turned out
book.
that way.
And it's flying off the shelves. He's a genius. He's getting a Pulitzer, etc. They talk about how Harmony has talked about how his talent is sort of counterproductive to his lifestyle. He's talented, but like he's not tortured by his talent. Like he doesn't have this like drive to release his creativity. It's more like a hassle to him. It's a burden that he's talented.
Yeah, he's focused on just like having fun and hanging out.
Yeah, that's all he wants to do is have fun and hang out. But he has this amazing talent, so then what do?
You just have to, every so often you have to shit something out and then let it win a bunch of awards. Make you rich.
Yeah, and do you think that's kind of like autobiographical to Harmony, maybe?
You know, I don't really know enough about him. Like, I think he's so sort of I think intentionally like obscure in his like personal life. It's like it's hard for me to really have a beat on like to what extent, you know, he's like tongue in cheek or whatever whenever he like, you know, whenever he's like revealing or something about his life. So I don't know. I'm not sure.
It's hard to say, but seems like it could be true.
It could be. Yeah.
I mean, he does live this like off the grid sort of wild lifestyle, and he lives in Miami specifically so that people won't know who he is and he can be more free and raise hell, etc. Skateboards around town, lives next to a movie theater that he can just go in and watch whatever he wants.
That sounds fun.
I read an article by a dude who was like, I was trying to interview him and he made me go in his movie theater and watch Sinbad stand-up comedy special.
Wow. Yeah, that's really funny.
Yeah, that actually rocks. And he said there was like a loose box of enchiladas on his porch. And he was like, oh yeah, there's a guy who leaves me enchiladas. Like, that's kind of like the life. He was like, do you like enchiladas? I have some. And just picks up a box off the porch and goes here. So, you know, that's the kind of the lifestyle he's living down there. And he only puts out a movie like once in a while. Not very often.
I mean, I wonder how easy it is for him to like get a movie financed.
I don't know. That's interesting.
I don't know.
Probably easier since like Spring Breakers was such a hit. But then I don't know because this was such a flop.
Right.
So
I don't know either.
Hard to say. How's he make? I know like once or twice a year he does like an ad for something, and that's kind of how he lives. He does like a commercial.
Isn't he like a painter also?
He does a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like he's just like a more holistically an artist in kind of more ways than just film. So it's like I think he's
totally.
Yeah, I think he's just kind of like a guy who's like kind of just artistic in a bunch of ways.
For sure.
That's cool.
I was listening to an interview with him earlier where he was talking about that, like how he makes all these different types of art, or he's taking photos, he's making films, he's painting, he's doing whatever, but it all comes from the same juice for him. It all feels like the same juice.
Yeah, people say that it's like just multiple kind of like rivers flowing from the same source or whatever.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
I feel like artists talk about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
Do you do stuff besides make films? Like artistically? You said you have a guitar. Do you play rock?
At times I've been like a musician and I've been like kind of making music, and at times I'll kind of be like artistic, like in whatever like form I can. You know, I'll write or something like that.
Yeah.
But I've always been pretty like all in as a filmmaker in terms of the craft of filmmaking or something. It's like it's definitely always been
that's the main squeeze.
That's my main squeeze.
Yeah. Okay. So he publishes his book. He's going to be huge. He gets all this money. He asks for it all in cash to come on a yacht. Basically lights the yacht on fire and explodes the yacht with all his money on it. Yeah. It rocks.
I'm down with that choice. Yeah. I think it's a little like I think it's a little goofy that it like cuts to him as a younger man and he's like, it's poetry. Yeah. Like, I don't need that. I know it's poetry. You don't gotta tell me that.
Yeah. And he escapes on a tiny little boat with his kitty. While fireworks are going off, the yacht's exploded. They exploded a real yacht for this.
Cool.
And he floats off into the sunset, and that's kind of the end of the movie. Did we miss anything?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think so.
We kind of never talk about like him being followed by the cops ever again. Once his book comes out, cop thing's over.
That's the thing. It's like I don't feel like the cops are really onto him ever. It's like he just kind of he gets sent to rehab and then he just like bounces. No one seems to mind at all. I even feel like the cops that are like showing I feel like the cops that are, that we see later are like, they're after Snoop Dogg, right? They're after like the weed operation.
Yeah.
It feels like. So it's just like, you get, through dialogue, we like kind of get these little glimpses that he's like hot. Yeah. But he's not hot. Really. Nobody cares. Yeah. It's fine.
Did we hit all your bones? What were the other bones you had?
No, I think we just hit all my bones. It's like my bumps are just always stuff where it's about trying to like fit the movie into like a traditional narrative shape when it just doesn't want to be one. It wants to be more of like a free flowing experience. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like all that, anytime there's like that sensation of almost like narrative, like structural, artificiality, it just makes me wince a little bit.
Yeah, makes you puke.
It makes me just fucking throw up.
Oh yeah, so you felt like there were times when Harmony was being disingenuous to his true self.
Yeah, I don't know that it's Harmony's fault, honestly. Yeah. It's like I can just imagine it being like some kind of producer thing or something. Not that I know who the producers are of this movie really. But it's like, I don't know, I can just imagine that there's like, who knows, maybe they like test screen the movie and like a general audience is just
there's other hands at play. Having
a lot of trouble like following the film or like understanding or whatever, like finding the characters unsympathetic or something, and then it's like, oh well, and it's like, shit, we gotta do all these changes in the edit to like make to make things more quote unquote clear, or like more, and to me that stuff, it rankled me. I'm just like, I don't know. It rankled you up. Yeah, I'm like that. So but other than that, it's like I love the spirit of the movie. I love the feel of the movie. I love like a lot of the performances in the movie, the aesthetic of the movie, and the rhythm.
Hell yeah!
So I think it's a cool movie.
What would you give this movie out of 5?
I'm gonna say 4.5, basically.
Hell yeah! I also gave this a 4.
Cool. Okay,
I think it's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah. My rankles are small. Yeah. Small rankles with the film. But yeah, in general, I think it's good. It's funny. And chill film.
That's the way that I feel too. I feel like if you had asked me after I first saw the movie in the theater in an inebriated state, I would have been like 5 stars.
Yeah.
And now watching it again, more sober minded. Yeah, I give it a cool 4.5.
Yeah, I think also watching it on a big screen helps. I liked it better the second time, I think.
Yeah,
I found it more funny. Yeah, and it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Now it's time for ScreenVomit.
All right, so that wraps up this movie, but then I have another little thing.
Oh, yeah?
Called ScreenVomit After Dark. So in that part of the pod, we talk about what else we've been watching lately. So what you been watching lately?
That's interesting. I've been watching like the movies that are out. It's like I watched that Ruben Östlund movie. I watched whatever it's called. I watched Tar, which I thought was so awesome. I love Tar.
Did you like Triangle of Sadness?
Yeah, I really did. I thought it was very funny.
I love Ruben Östlund. It's probably my least favorite Ruben Östlund, but that being said, I still think it's a 5-star movie.
I haven't seen his like early movies.
You got to watch everything. Movies? Yeah, I think he's my favorite filmmaker. Like to be honest.
Okay,
yeah.
I totally will. That's
Involuntary is amazing. The Square, Force Majeure. They're all so good.
Oh yeah, I love Force Majeure.
Yeah. So you have seen.
Yeah, I forgot about Force Majeure.
Watch Involuntary, though. That's really good, too.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one. Okay.
He has good shorts, too.
I mean, interesting. You've seen the shorts, too? Mm-hmm. Did you see Tar?
No, not yet.
Tar is cool. Yeah. Tar is really cool.
Cool.
Tar is interesting. It's always up to some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And other than that, I feel like I've just been watching like prestige TV, sort of. It's like my girlfriend and I watched The Staircase, that like HBO thing, which I feel like whenever I'm not watching like a prestige TV show, I've got a little bit of a hunger to just be like chewing on one or whatever.
To be watching one.
So it's like, it's like we're watching that show Mare of Easttown, which is like, I never watched that when it came out. I felt like everyone was watching that show like a year and a half or 2 years ago.
For sure. I never watched
Totally
it.
missed that wave.
I don't really watch a lot of TV. I'm just watching shorts and features.
Yeah, that makes sense. I watched this movie called Watcher, this like Sundance movie from a year ago. That it's like a horror film, which I thought was pretty fun and cool. Yeah, generally just kind of like enjoyably like cruising and watching like whatever flits across my damn screen in a way that I have no control over what I watch.
Your body's just following the movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's exposing itself to you.
I'm like passively kind of like tied to a chair and stuff. Is like just
hell yeah. Well, I have a couple I've been watching too. Can I say?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I watched John in the Hole recently. Have you heard of this? It did festivals like a year ago. Michael C. Hall's in it. It's about a kid who traps his family in an underground bunker and just kind of like lives his best kid life outside while his family is trapped, and he like has to bring them food and shit.
Oh, that's fun.
It's very like chill vibe movie. Like it's like slow paced and everything, but I liked it. I watched a longer short called Here We Have Idaho by Matt Baratz.
Huh. Okay.
I had seen that before, but I watched it again. I forgot how damn funny it is. It's really funny. Are you familiar with Matt Baratz at all? He's a comedian.
No, not really.
He's in a couple indies. He's in that movie Inspector Ike that's been
around.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
I haven't seen Inspector Ike. No, I really want to see it.
You gotta watch it. It's so funny.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
And
he's the main guy in that movie. But
Here
We Have Idaho, he made himself. And it's just like him going back to visit his family in his hometown in Idaho. But he's just so funny. So I recommend that. I rewatched the movie Beautiful Losers, which is a documentary that Harmony Korine is in about like the DIY scene in the mid-90s in New York.
Oh, interesting.
It's one of my favorite documentaries. I'm not really a huge documentary guy, but I just really love this one. Mike Mills is in it, Ed Templeton, like a lot of just people who are like really cool and huge now. But this is all like when they were all together in the same like DIY scene. And it's just great. It's called Beautiful Losers.
That's cool. I haven't seen that one either.
I think the poster kind of like looks corny, and I didn't watch it for a long time because the poster is like a butterfly, and I think it looks kind of dumb. But the movie's really cool. I like that. And then one more I watched recently, Broker, which is a Hirokazu Koreeda film. And I just did one of his movies. I just did Shoplifters for the pod too. Broker's doing festivals right now, and I saw it at a fest, and it's just so good. I was ugly crying in the theater. It's amazing. I want to watch all his movies. They're so good.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome.
Hell yeah.
It's great. Genius.
Now we just got to do plugs, and then we can close out. So tell me what you got to plug.
Oh my God. I don't know what I have to plug.
What you got going on?
What?
Where can people find your shit? Where can people find you if they want to look at you more?
Okay, yeah. Okay, all right. Like I have a bunch of movies that I've made. You can check them out on the internet if you Google my damn name, Harrison Atkins. That's my name.
Oh, yeah.
That's me. That's my name. I've got some other shit coming out. I've got a short that I just made. It's
really?
Gonna come out. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And I actually love the short that I just made. And I have like let's see. There's like I guess you can try to find me on Instagram or whatever. If you wanna be in touch or something like that.
If you want to be hired to be an actor.
Yeah. If you're a director, please hire me as an actor. I will do my performance for you.
Your special performance.
I will do my special. I will give you my special.
People can't
treat.
see, but Harrison's rubbing his hands together aggressively. Ready to do a sneaky performance.
I'll be very sneaky for you if you like. I'm making a big feature. I'm trying to make this big feature.
Really?
So yeah, I'm trying to get the money to do it.
Hell yeah!
That's gonna be insanely sick.
Oh hell yeah!
It's gonna be nuts, that movie. So So send me your energy, your healing forces if you're listening to this.
And your money.
Yeah, and hell, throw me a couple. What are those? What's an old timey word for dollars? I don't know. It's like backs, something backs.
Like greenbacks.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
I don't know. That sounds like a slur, though, doesn't it?
Maybe. All right, never mind.
Maybe it's fine. I don't know.
Send me the money.
Throw him some coin.
Show me the money.
Yeah. All right.
Toss me the
All that
coin.
shit rocks. I can't wait to see your new movies. I'm so excited.
Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
And thanks for coming on the pod.
Thanks for having me on. It was very fun. Nice to talk.
Hell yeah. All right. We'll see everybody else next time. Bye.
Bye. All right, I'm going to put this, I guess, here.
Yeah, put it somewhere where you won't touch
like that.
Or bang it.
I hope I don't bang it. Okay.
If there's an occasional bang, we can work around that. But a constant bang.
It shouldn't just be like constantly.
There's no coming back from that.
Hitting it, knocking it around. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try not to.
But no promises?
I can't promise I'm not going to just bang it the whole time. Sorry.
Well, we always have the Zoom.
Quite. Yeah, okay.
I record the Zoom too, so.
I'm going to be knocking around on here too.
Knock around all of it, sabotage the pod. Hell yeah.
No, I think it'd be good for the pod.
Yeah? Add some character?
Yeah.
some
it gives
beat
the
drops?
pod it gives it a patina.
Hell yeah.
It gives it like an aura. Yeah, more like a house.
A little groove to
garage.
it.
Yeah. It's a swing.
I feel that.
Gives a little rhythm.
I love to rock out to some pods, you know?
Yeah, I love to just chill, throw on a pod, invite some people over and dance.
Yeah, hell yeah. Get some groove in the patoot.
Mm-hmm.